From time immemorial, it was necessary to partition the day into pieces usable for scheduling. Many societies, including the Japanese, Hellenic, and Roman, utilized a system based on day hours and night hours. Each daytime would be divided into segments, and each nighttime would be divided into segments. An example would be an equinox, where the day hours were divided into 6 2-hour-long pieces, and the night into 6 2-hour-long pieces. You might astutely ask, what about the other times of the year, when the day and night are not equal? The pieces of day might then lengthen to 3 hours each, and of night into 1 hour for each piece, or vice versa. These classical era divisions of the day and night were anchored to sunrise and sunset, with the sun in the northern hemisphere due south at noon. These allowed the people to be flexible in their lives according to responsibilities, and maximize the sunlight. These time divisions are the origin of the modern daylight savings time. The main difference is that the start and ending of the day is no longer revolving around the sun, but the buzzer of the alarm, or the commute to work. If a Japanese man wanted to farm earlier in the summer to make it to market, and do other tasks when he willed, he was free to do so. If he wanted to start later in the winter, he did so and took care of other tasks that might be less profitable in the daytime. Modern people are tied to the business clock as opposed to the solar clock. This business clock decides the useful time of sun in the morning and the sun available in the evening. And this is what made daylight savings time an issue in the United States. A curious issue which farmers, in fact, found inconvenient for transporting crops at times, and they proved very vocal advocates against daylight savings at each of its introductions. Recent American politics, and for me, that means about a century ago, there were seen implementation of daylight savings during the World War I and World War II eras. At each time, the mandate was repealed soon after, and states were free to set the time according to their own wills. Some states chose to allow greater time for strolls in the evening, others more time for students to play, and others chose to follow suit to New York City, the sort of financial capital at the time, and opted to follow their daylight savings implementation. After World War II re-established the daylight savings time, it was returned to the states and the cities in the states where they were free to choose their own clock setting. With increased travel, though, due to railroad and car, the federal government required each state to decide to opt into or out of the daylight savings time as a cohesive unit. No longer were cities free individually to choose their time zones. Gradually, though, daylight savings time has taken more and more of the year. I believe at this point it is about 60% of the year. And there are further attempts in Congress to make this daylight savings time the new standard time and make it a permanent fixture